Welcome to Quiz to Sleep, where questions are rhythmic and answers don't matter. Gentle pace, light learning, sleep deeper, wake brighter. Tonight, we begin our journey into the ancient world of Greek mythology. This is Volume 1, Gods and Titans. Together, we'll drift through timeless stories of creation, of the mighty Titans, and of the first Olympian gods. After each narration, you'll be invited into a gentle quiz of 100 questions, spread across 5 sections. Each question and answer is followed by a pause, letting knowledge settle gently into your subconscious. There are no correct answers tonight. No pressure, no judgment. So settle in, close your eyes, and let the myths of gods and titans carry you into sleep. Before the poets sang, before temples rose from marble, there were stories. Stories told beside flickering firelight, whispered in marketplaces, carried across seas by sailors, and preserved by priests in sacred ritual. The ancient Greeks believed that the world around them, the mountains, the storms, the sea, even the cycle of life and death, was shaped by forces greater than themselves. And to understand those forces, they gave them names, faces, and tales. Greek mythology was never just entertainment. It was a mirror held up to human life, explaining creation, love, betrayal, justice, and fate. Every myth offered a glimpse of truth, hidden in the struggles of gods and heroes. The people of Greece turned to these stories for meaning, for lessons, and sometimes simply for wonder. At the heart of these myths lies a cycle, the cycle of power. One generation rises, only to be challenged by the next. Fathers are overthrown by sons. Rulers cling to their thrones, even as prophecies foretell their downfall. And in this endless struggle, the balance of the cosmos is decided. The journey you are about to take begins before there was land, before there was sky, in a time when chaos was all that existed. From that emptiness came Gaea, the earth, and Uranus, the sky, whose union gave birth to a new generation, the Titans. Among them was Cronus, who would overthrow his father and seize power. But prophecy is never silent, and soon Cronus too would face betrayal from his own son, Zeus. You will follow the rise of the Olympian gods as Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades divide the world between sky, sea, and underworld. You will hear of Prometheus, the trickster who stole fire for humankind, and Pandora, who opened a jar that changed the fate of mortals forever. And you will meet the first heroes, Perseus, Cadmus, Heracles, mortals whose courage carried them into legend, their names forever bound to the gods who guided or opposed them. These myths are not simple tales of victory. They are filled with sorrow as well as triumph, cruelty as well as kindness. The gods themselves are not flawless beings. They quarrel, deceive, love, and betray, reflecting the passions and weaknesses of the humans who worshipped them. And yet, within these tales is a sense of awe, a reminder that life is more than what can be seen or measured, that there are mysteries older than memory. As you listen, let the weight of the day fade. Allow these stories to unfold slowly, like constellations appearing in the night sky. From chaos to titans, from gods to heroes, you will journey through the foundation myths of Greece, a world where the divine and mortal are forever entwined. Which of the following best describes the purpose of Greek mythology? A. To explain natural events and human life. B. To record historical battles. C. To predict the weather. Answer: A. To explain natural events and human life. Myths explained creation, nature, and human experience. The Greeks believed that power among gods often changed because of what? A. Random chance. B. Prophecy and rebellion. C. Gifts from mortals. Answer: B. Prophecy and rebellion. One generation often overthrew the one before. Which type of beings came before the Olympian gods? A. Titans. B. Centaurs. C. Satyrs. Answer: A. Titans. The Titans ruled before Zeus and the Olympians. In Greek myth, the gods often show human qualities such as anger, jealousy, and love. A. True. B. False. Answer: A. True. The gods reflected human emotions and flaws. What did the Greeks believe controlled fate and destiny? A. The Moirai, or fates. B. The Muses. C. The Harpies. Answer: A. The Moirai, or fates. They spun, measured, and cut the thread of life. Which mountain was considered the home of the gods? A. Mount Ida. B. Mount Olympus. C. Mount Parnassus. Answer: B. Mount Olympus. Olympus was the shining palace of the Olympians. Greek myths often explain the origins of A. Natural disasters and seasons. B. Mathematics and writing systems. C. Roman emperors. Answer: A. Natural disasters and seasons. For example, Persephone's story explained the seasons. What quality did Greek heroes usually share? A. Immortality. B. Extraordinary strength or courage. C. Perfect wisdom without flaws. Answer: B. Extraordinary strength or courage. Heroes were admired, but not flawless. Which word best describes the relationship between mortals and gods in myth? A. Equal partnership. B. Reverence and dependence. Complete independence. Answer: B. Reverence and dependence. Mortals prayed, sacrificed, and feared the gods' wrath. Why were myths often retold in festivals and ceremonies? A. To honor the gods and keep traditions alive. B. To entertain travelers only. C. To replace philosophy and history. Answer: A. To honor the gods and keep traditions alive. Festivals celebrated myths as sacred cultural memory. The origin of the world, chaos, Uranus, and Gaea. Let us begin at the very beginning. Close your eyes and drift back in time, far beyond memory, far before history. Imagine a universe before there were stars, before there was light, before even the whisper of the wind or the ripple of the sea. There was no earth to stand upon, no sky to gaze into, no ocean to divide the land. There was only chaos. Chaos was not a god, nor a creature. It was a vast emptiness, a great yawning void without form or measure. Silence and darkness stretched in all directions, endless and eternal. Yet even within this stillness, there stirred the seeds of creation. For chaos was not barren. Hidden within its depths lay the beginnings of all things, waiting to awaken. From chaos came the first beings. Among them was Gaea, the earth, who spread herself wide and fertile, becoming the ground upon which all life could grow. She was solid and steady, the eternal mother, clothed in green valleys and rising mountains, in rivers, caves, and fields. Beside her appeared Uranus, the sky, who stretched high above, a dome of shining stars and endless blue. He was vast and ever-reaching, surrounding Gaia in his embrace. Together, Gaia and Uranus became the parents of a powerful family. Their children were the Titans, mighty beings who embodied aspects of the natural world and the cosmos. They were radiant gods of light and order, destined to shape the world that was still young. But not all of Gaia and Uranus's children were so fair. Some were born as cyclopes, giants with a single blazing eye in the center of their foreheads, masters of forging and fire. Others were the Hecatonquires, beings of unimaginable size and strength, with 50 heads and 100 hands each. But Uranus feared his children. The Cyclopes and Hecatonchires, with their terrible strength, filled him with dread. Fearing that they might one day overthrow him, Uranus cast them down into Tartarus, a pit deep within the earth, as dark and endless as chaos itself. There they were bound, imprisoned far beneath the world, where their cries echoed in the shadows. Gaea, the mother of all, grieved for her children. She could not bear their suffering, nor forgive Uranus for his cruelty. Her heart grew heavy, and her sorrow turned to anger. She longed for vengeance, and she began to plot the downfall of her husband. She shaped from her own body a great sickle, forged of flint, sharp and unyielding, and she called to her children, the Titans, urging them to rise up and free their imprisoned brothers. Yet the Titans hesitated, afraid of their father's might. All but one, Cronus, the youngest, bold and ambitious, stepped forward. He took the sickle from his mother's hand and lay in wait for Uranus. One night, as Uranus descended to lie upon Gaea, Cronus sprang from hiding. With a single stroke of the sickle, he struck his father down, wounding him and casting him aside. From Uranus's blood that fell upon the earth, new beings were born, the giants, fierce and strong, the Erinyes or Furies, spirits of vengeance, and the ash tree nymphs, daughters of the earth. From the foam that gathered where Uranus's body met the sea, another being would soon arise, Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. With Uranus dethroned, Cronus declared himself ruler. The age of the Titans had begun. Gaea, though sorrowful at the violence, was glad to see her children free, but she also knew that power gained through blood would not last forever. The cycle of rebellion and betrayal had begun, and one day Cronus too would face the same fate as his father. And so, from the emptiness of chaos, the earth and sky were born. From the union of Gaea and Uranus came the Titans, the Cyclopes, and the Hecatonchires. And from blood, pain, and ambition arose the endless cycle of power that would shape the myths of Greece. What was chaos in Greek mythology? A god of war. B, a void or primordial nothingness. C, a monster with many heads. Answer: B, a void or primordial nothingness. Chaos was considered the very first state of existence in Greek cosmogony. Who was the personification of Earth? A Nyx. B, Gaea. C, Rhea. Answer: B, Gaea. Gaea, or Mother Earth, was the fertile ground from which life sprang. Who was the personification of the sky? A, Uranus. B. Cronus. C. Hyperion. Answer A. Uranus. Uranus, also called Uranus, was the first sky god. Who were the children of Gaea and Uranus? A Titans, Cyclopes, and Hecatonchires. B. Olympians. C. Centaurs and satyrs. Answer A. Titans, Cyclopes, and Hecatonchires. These early beings shaped the world before the Olympian gods. How many heads did the Hecatonchires have? A. On. Bijlage 50. C. 100. Answer B. 50. The Hecatonchires had 50 heads and 100 hands each. Where did Uranus imprison his children? On Mount Olympus. B. Tartarus. C. The underworld. Answer B. Tartarus. Tartarus was a deep abyss used as a prison for powerful beings. Who urged the Titans to rise against Uranus? A Nyx. B. Gaea. C. Rhea. Answer B. Gaea. Gaea encouraged her children to overthrow Uranus after he imprisoned them. Which Titan carried out the attack on Uranus? A. Cronus. B. Oceanus. C. Atlas. Answer A. Cronus. Cronus used a sickle to strike down Uranus. What weapon did Cronus use against Uranus? A. Trident. B. Thunderbolt. C. Sickle. Answer C. Sickle. The sickle became a symbol of time and destiny. What beings were born from the blood of Uranus? A. The Furies and Giants. B. The Muses. C. The Nymphs. Answer A. The Furies and Giants. According to myth, they sprang from the drops of blood that fell upon Gaea. Who was the youngest of the Titans? A. Cronus. B. Hyperion. C. Oceanus. Answer A. Cronus. Cronus was the youngest, but also the boldest of the Titans. Who was the Titan of memory and mother of the Muses? Themis. B. Mnemosyne. C. Rhea. Answer B. Mnemosyne. Her name means memory, and she was honored as the source of inspiration. Which primordial goddess represented night? A Nyx. B. Selene. C. Eos. Answer A. Nyx. Nyx was the dark embodiment of night itself. Which primordial deity represented darkness? A. Erebus. B. Tartarus. C. Thanatos. Answer A. Erebus. Erebus personified deep darkness and shadow. Who was the goddess of day? A Hemera. B. Selene. C. Nike. Answer A. Hemera. Hemera was the daughter of Nyx and Erebus, bringing daylight to the world. What does the name Cronus associate with? A. Time. B. War. C. Wisdom. Answer A. Time. Cronus was often linked to the passing of time and the harvest cycle. Who later forged Zeus's thunderbolts? A. The Cyclopes. B. The Hecatonchires. C. The Titans. Answer A. The Cyclopes. The Cyclopes were master craftsmen of divine weapons. What was Tartarus considered to be? A. A prison abyss. B. The sky realm. C. A festival of Zeus. Answer A. A prison abyss. Tartarus was deeper than Hades, a pit for the defeated. What Roman name corresponds to Uranus? A. Saturn. B. Coelus. C. Terra. Answer B. Coelus. In Roman tradition, Uranus was known as Coelus. What Roman name corresponds to Gaea? A. Ceres. B. Terra. C. Juno. Answer B. Terra. The Romans worshipped her as Terra, mother of the earth. The Titan Age, Cronus and Rhea. With the fall of Uranus, the Titans rose into power. Among them, Cronus, the youngest and boldest, claimed the throne of the cosmos. He held high the sickle that had cut down his father, and with it declared himself the ruler of gods and men. At his side stood Rhea, his sister and queen. Rhea was strong and noble, a mother figure among the Titans, and together she and Cronus began to shape the golden age of their reign. For a time, the world was calm, and the earth flourished beneath their rule. Crops grew thick, rivers ran full, and humankind began to stir upon the earth, nurtured by Gaea's fertile embrace. Yet deep within Cronus's heart, a shadow of fear lingered. For his father Uranus, before he fell, had spoken a prophecy. He warned that one day, just as Cronus had overthrown him, so too would a child of Cronus rise to overthrow the Titan king. And this fear consumed Cronus, gnawing at him with every heartbeat. One by one, Rhea bore her children. First came Hestia, goddess of the hearth and flame, then Demeter, goddess of the harvest. Next was Hera, who would one day be queen of the gods. Then Hades, ruler to be of the underworld, and Poseidon, lord of the sea. But Cronus, determined that none should live to challenge him, swallowed each newborn child the moment it was born. With his great jaws he devoured them, hiding them inside his belly, where they remained imprisoned in silence and darkness. Rhea wept bitterly as one by one her children were taken from her arms, unable to grow, unable to see the light of day. When her sixth child was soon to be born, Rhea could bear no more. She fled in secret to the island of Crete, and there, in a hidden cave, she gave birth to Zeus. The child's cry echoed softly in the stone chamber, and with it came hope. Desperate to protect him, Rhea turned to Gaea, the Great Mother, for help. Together, they devised a plan. Rhea swaddled a stone in cloth, wrapping it as though it were a newborn babe. She returned to Cronus, and with trembling hands offered him the bundle. Without suspicion, Cronus devoured the stone, believing it to be his son, and so Zeus was spared. In the cave, nymphs cared for the infant god. They fed him on honey and on the milk of Amalthea, a gentle goat whose horns overflowed with abundance. Around the cave, the Curetes, armored guardians, kept watch. Whenever the child cried, they clashed their shields together, raising a great clamor, so that Cronus would never hear the sound of his son. And so Zeus grew, hidden and safe, while the world above remained under the shadow of the Titan king. Years passed, and Zeus became strong. In time, he returned to confront his father, just as the prophecy had foretold. With cunning and power, he forced Cronus to disgorge his swallowed children, who emerged whole and alive from the darkness of their father's belly. United once more, the children of Rhea and Cronus stood together against the Titans, and thus began the Titanomachy, a war that shook the earth for 10 long years. The Olympians, led by Zeus, fought with thunder and lightning, with tridents and hidden fire. The Titans, proud and unyielding, struggled fiercely to defend their reign. At last, with the help of the Cyclopes, and the Hecatonchires, the Olympians triumphed. Cronus and most of his kin were cast into Tartarus, chained in the abyss. But from Rhea's act of defiance, a new order was born. The age of the Titans had ended, and the age of the Olympians had begun. Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, Hera, Demeter, and Hestia took their places as rulers of the world, shaping the destiny of gods and mortals alike. Yet the cycle of fear and prophecy, of parent against child, still lingered. For just as Cronus once feared his children, so too would Zeus one day hear a prophecy of his own. But that is a story for another time. Who was Cronus's wife and queen? A. Rhea. B. Themis. C. Mnemosyne. Answer: Rhea. Rhea was both sister and consort to Cronus and the mother of the Olympians. What did Rhea give Cronus instead of baby Zeus? A. A golden apple. B. A stone wrapped in cloth. C. A loaf of bread. Answer: B. A stone wrapped in cloth. Cronus swallowed the stone, believing it was his child. Which island was baby Zeus hidden on? A. Delos. B. Crete. C. Rhodes. Answer: B. Crete. Zeus was raised in a cave on Crete, safe from Cronus's reach. Which creatures guarded Zeus in the cave? A. Satyrs. B. The Curetes warriors. C. Harpies. Answer: B. The Curetes warriors. They clashed their shields to drown out the baby's cries. Which drink nourished the infant Zeus? A. Ambrosia. B. Nectar. C. Goat's milk from Amalthea. Answer: C. Goat's milk from Amalthea. Amalthea was the divine goat who fed and protected Zeus. How many children did Cronus swallow? A. 5. B. 6. C. 7. Answer: A. 5. Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon were swallowed before Zeus was born. Who freed Cronus's children from his stomach? A. Poseidon. B. Zeus. C. Hades. Answer: B. Zeus. Once grown, Zeus returned to confront Cronus and release his siblings. What was the war between the Olympians and Titans called? A. Gigantomachy. B. Titanomachy. C. Trojan War. Answer B. Titanomachy. The Titanomachy lasted 10 years and ended with the Titans' defeat. Which Titan was punished to hold up the sky? A. Prometheus. B. Atlas. C. Hyperion. Answer B. Atlas. Atlas was forced to bear the weight of the heavens. Which Titan aided Zeus in the rebellion? A. Prometheus. B. Oceanus. C. Chaos. Answer A. Prometheus. Prometheus sided with the Olympians, a choice that shaped his fate later. Who was the Titan of justice and order? Themis. B. Mnemosyne. C. Tethys. Answer A. Themis. Themis represented divine law and balance. Who was the Titan of memory? A. Mnemosyne. B. Rhea. C. Theia. Answer A. Mnemosyne. She was the mother of the 9 muses. Who was the Titan of the sun? A. Hyperion. B. Helios. C. Phoebe. Answer A. Hyperion. Hyperion was an elder sun deity, father of Helios. Who was the Titan goddess of prophecy and light? Theia. B. Phoebe. C. Rhea. Answer B. Phoebe. She was associated with the moon and foresight. Which Titan was known as the ocean god? A. Oceanus. B. Tethys. C. Pontus. Answer A. Oceanus. Oceanus was believed to encircle the world with his river. What was the punishment of the Titans after defeat? A. Cast into Tartarus. B. Banished to the sea. C. Turned into stone. Answer A. Cast into Tartarus. Most of the Titans were imprisoned in the abyss. Which Roman god corresponds to Cronus? A. Jupiter. B. Saturn. C. Neptune. Answer B. Saturn. Saturn was the Roman equivalent of Cronus, honored in the Saturnalia festival. Which Roman goddess corresponds to Rhea? A. Operations. B. Vesta. Ceres. Answer A. Ops. Ops was the Roman Earth Mother, identified with Rhea. What did the Curates do to protect Zeus? A. Sang lullabies. B. Clashed their shields. C. Hid him under water. Answer B. Clashed their shields. Their noise disguised the cries of the infant god. Who was the divine goat that nursed Zeus? A. Amalthea. B. Alcmene. C. Antheia. Answer A. Amalthea. Amalthea's milk sustained the young god in secret. The division of the world, Zeus, Poseidon, Hades. When the war between the Titans and the Olympians finally came to an end, the world was quiet once more. For 10 long years, thunder had shaken the sky, the sea had risen in storms, and the earth had trembled under the clash of gods. Now, the Titans were cast into Tartarus, bound in the deepest abyss, and a new order was about to rise. The brothers Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades stood together, ready to divide the realms of the universe. To make the choice fair, they agreed to draw lots, for none wished to accuse the other of deceit. And so, from the hands of fate, their destinies were chosen. To Zeus fell the sky, vast and endless, crowned with clouds and stars. From high upon Mount Olympus, he would reign as king of the gods, watching over mortals and immortals alike. His voice was the thunder, his weapon the lightning bolt, and when the storm clouds gathered, all knew the power of Zeus was near. To Poseidon fell the sea, deep and restless, filled with creatures both wondrous and terrifying. He became lord of the oceans, guiding the waves, raising storms, and calming waters. When his trident struck the earth, mountains shook and earthquakes split the land, reminding all of his strength as Earthshaker. Horses, swift and proud, were also his gift to humankind, born from the spray of the sea. And to Hades fell the underworld, the realm beneath the earth. Though some say he drew the shortest lot, Hades accepted his fate with quiet resolve. His kingdom was hidden in shadow, a place where mortal souls journeyed after death. Though feared, he was not cruel. Hades ruled with stern justice, keeping the balance between life and death, ensuring that the order of the cosmos was preserved. Thus the three brothers, though ruling apart, created harmony between their realms, the heavens, the seas, and the underworld, each bound to the other, each necessary for the whole. The underworld itself was a vast and mysterious place. At its entrance flowed the river Styx, dark and sacred. Charon, the solemn ferryman, guided souls across its waters if they could pay his fee, often with a coin placed upon their lips in burial. Beyond the Styx stretched the fields of the dead, where all mortals, noble or humble, would one day arrive. Cerberus, the great hound with 3 heads, guarded the gates, allowing none to leave without permission. Within the underworld lay many regions, the asphodel meadows, where ordinary souls wandered in quiet shadows, the Elysian fields, a place of light and joy, where heroes and the virtuous found rest, and Tartarus, deep and terrible, where the wicked suffered their punishments and the defeated titans remained imprisoned. Meanwhile, high above, Mount Olympus shone in the sunlight. The gods built their shining palaces there, with halls of marble and gold. From this lofty peak, Zeus called councils of the gods, where matters of fate and mortal lives were decided. The eagle flew at his side, a symbol of strength and kingship, and the world trembled at the sound of his thunder. In the seas, Poseidon's palace gleamed beneath the waves. Its walls were of coral and gems, lit by the glow of pearls and shells. There, among dolphins and hippocampi, he ruled with a mighty hand, sometimes generous, sometimes vengeful, for the sea was as changeable as his moods. Sailors prayed to him before voyages, offering horses or bulls, hoping to win his favor and safe passage across the waters. And though Hades remained in the shadows, his realm was not without light. For Persephone, daughter of Demeter, became his queen. Half the year she dwelt with her mother above the earth, bringing spring and summer in her steps. The other half, she sat beside Hades, her presence softening the darkness of his halls. Through her, the cycle of life, death, and rebirth was bound forever. Thus, the world was divided. Sky, sea, and underworld, each realm ruled by one of the brothers, each holding power and responsibility. And though they sometimes quarreled, together they upheld the balance of creation. The age of the Olympians had truly begun for another time. Who became ruler of the sky after the Titanomachy? A. Zeus. B. Apollo. C. Hermes. Answer: A. Zeus. Zeus ruled the heavens, wielding thunder and lightning. Who was given rule over the sea? A. Hades. B. Poseidon. C. Ares. Answer: B. Poseidon. Poseidon was the god of the sea, earthquakes, and horses. Who became ruler of the underworld? A. Hermes. B. Hades. Cronus. Answer: B. Hades. Hades kept order among the dead and ruled beneath the earth. What weapon is Zeus most often shown holding? A. Thunderbolt. B. Spear. C. Trident. Answer: A. Thunderbolt. The thunderbolt symbolized his authority as king of the gods. What was Poseidon's main weapon? A. Trident. B. Sword. C. Bow. Answer: A. Trident. The three-pronged trident could shake the seas and cause earthquakes. What magical item did Hades possess? A. The helm of darkness. B. The golden lyre. C. The silver bow. Answer: A. The helm of darkness. This helmet allowed Hades to become invisible. What was the home of the gods called? A Mount Olympus. B. Mount Ida. C. Mount Etna. Answer: A. Mount Olympus. Olympus was believed to be the dwelling place of the Olympian gods. Who ferried souls across the river Styx? A. Charon. B. Cerberus. C. Hermes. Answer: A. Charon. Charon demanded payment to ferry souls across the river. What creature guarded the gates of Hades? A. Hydra. B. Cerberus. C. Chimera. Answer: B. Cerberus. Cerberus was a monstrous hound with 3 heads. Which river was considered sacred for divine oaths? Lethe. B. Styx. C. Acheron. Answer: B. Styx. Even the gods swore their most binding promises on the Styx. What sea creatures often pulled Poseidon's chariot? A. Dolphins. B. Horses or hippocampi. C. Sea serpents. Answer: B. Horses or hippocampi. Poseidon was also known as the tamer of horses. Who was the queen of the underworld? A. Persephone. B. Hera. C. Demeter. Answer: A. Persephone. She became Hades' queen after being taken from the earth above. Who was the queen of the gods on Olympus? A Hera. B. Aphrodite. C. Artemis. Answer A. Hera. Hera was the sister and consort of Zeus, goddess of marriage and family. Which god was often called Earthshaker? A. Ares. B. Poseidon. C. Hades. Answer B. Poseidon. He was believed to cause earthquakes when striking the ground with his trident. Who judged the souls of the dead in the underworld? A. Minos, Rhadamanthus, and Aeacus. B. Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon. C. Apollo, Hermes, and Dionysus. Answer A. Minos, Rhadamanthus, and Aeacus. These three judges determined the fate of mortal souls. What birds symbolize Zeus? A. Dove. B. Eagle. C. Owl. Answer B. Eagle. The eagle was sacred to Zeus and often shown beside him. Which Roman names correspond to Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades? A. Jupiter, Neptune, Pluto. B. Saturn, Mars, Vulcan. C. Apollo, Mercury, Bacchus. Answer A. Jupiter, Neptune, Pluto. The Romans gave their own names to the Olympian rulers. Which mountain was sacred to Zeus and the Olympians? A. Olympus. B. Parnassus. C. Ida. Answer A. Olympus. Olympus was seen as their shining home above the world. What animal was especially sacred to Poseidon? A horse, bull, sea dolphin. Answer A. Horse. Poseidon was believed to have created the first horse. Which goddess was sent to deliver messages between Zeus and mortals? A. Iris. B. Hebe. C. Nike. Answer A. Iris. Iris, the rainbow goddess, carried messages across the sky from the king of the gods. What was the realm of Hades sometimes called by poets? A. The House of Shadows. B. The Shining Fields. C. The Eternal Flame. Answer A. The House of Shadows. The underworld was often described as a shadowy dwelling for all souls after death. Prometheus and Pandora. Not all myths are about kings and wars among their gods. Some speak of gifts, of fire, of hope, and of sorrow. And among these tales, none is more famous than that of Prometheus, the Titan who loved humankind, and of Pandora, the first woman whose curiosity changed the world forever. Prometheus was a Titan, but unlike most of his kin, he sided with Zeus and the Olympians during the Great War. Clever and far-seeing, his very name meant forethought. When the battle was over and Zeus reigned upon Olympus, Prometheus turned his gaze not to the gods, but to the fragile mortals who lived upon the earth. Humans were weak, without fur, claws, or wings. They suffered from cold, hunger, and fear. Prometheus pitied them, and he desired to give them the tools to survive. From the heavens he stole the spark of fire, hiding it in a hollow stalk of fennel. With fire, humankind learned to cook food, to warm themselves against the chill, and to craft tools from bronze and iron. Flames leapt upon their hearths, and for the first time, mortals began to thrive. But Zeus, king of the gods, was angered by this theft. Fire was meant for the immortals, a sacred gift, and now it burned in the hands of humankind. In his fury, Zeus devised punishments for both Prometheus and for mankind itself. Prometheus was seized by force and carried to a lonely mountain peak. There, unyielding chains bound him to the rock, and Zeus set upon him a torment without end. Each day, an eagle, great and terrible, descended from the sky. Its beak tore into Prometheus's side, devouring his liver. And each night, his flesh renewed itself, only for the torment to begin again with the dawn. Still Prometheus endured, defiant, his suffering a symbol of sacrifice for the sake of humankind. Yet Zeus was not content. If mortals had gained fire, then they too would feel the weight of the god's displeasure. From clay, Hephaestus the smith shaped the form of a woman, perfect and radiant. Each god bestowed a gift upon her. From Athena came wisdom, from Aphrodite came beauty, from Hermes came charm and cunning speech. The gods named her Pandora, meaning all gifted. As her wedding present, Zeus placed into her hands a jar, sealed and heavy. He warned that it must never be opened. With Pandora came Epimetheus, brother of Prometheus, whose name meant afterthought. Though his brother had cautioned him never to accept gifts from Zeus, Epimetheus's heart was soft, and he welcomed her gladly. But Pandora, though innocent, was filled with wonder. Day after day, her gaze lingered on the jar. What could it hold? What secret had the gods hidden inside? At last, unable to resist, she lifted the lid. In an instant, a great cloud of sorrows burst forth. Pain, sickness, toil, envy, and death itself flew into the world, stinging mortals and settling upon the earth. Pandora cried out in despair and struggled to close the lid, but it was too late. All the evils had escaped, and yet one last thing remained inside. A small and gentle spirit lingered at the bottom of the jar. When Pandora peered inside, she saw it shining faintly. It was Elpis, the spirit of hope. Though humankind must now suffer with grief and labor, hope remained with them, to give comfort, to lift their spirits, and to help them endure. So it was that Prometheus gave fire to humankind, and Pandora, through her curiosity, unleashed sorrow upon the world. Yet in the midst of all hardship, hope remained, like a quiet flame in the darkness, never to be extinguished. Who was the Titan who gave fire to humankind? A. Prometheus. B. Epimetheus. C. Atlas. Answer: A. Prometheus. Prometheus's name means forethought, and he cared deeply for mortals. What did Prometheus steal from the gods to give to humans? A. Fire. B. Ambrosia. C. Nectar. Answer: A. Fire. The spark of fire allowed humankind to survive and thrive. Where did Prometheus hide the stolen fire? A. In a fennel stalk. B. In a hollow shell. C. In a clay jar. Answer: A. In a fennel stalk. The hollow fennel stalk concealed the flame as he carried it to mortals. How did Zeus punish Prometheus for stealing fire? A. He chained him to a mountain. B. He cast him into Tartarus. C. He turned him into stone. Answer: A. He chained him to a mountain. Prometheus was bound to a peak where he suffered daily torment. What creature tormented Prometheus each day? A. An eagle. B. A serpent. C. A lion. Answer: A. An eagle. The eagle devoured his liver each day, which regrew each night. Whose son eventually freed Prometheus from his chains? A Heracles. B. Perseus. C. Theseus. Answer: A. Heracles. Heracles shot the eagle and broke Prometheus's bonds. Who was Prometheus's brother, known as Afterthought? A. Epimetheus. B. Atlas. C. Oceanus. Answer: A. Epimetheus. While Prometheus planned ahead, Epimetheus acted rashly. Who created Pandora from clay? A. Hephaestus. B. Apollo. C. Hermes. Answer: A. Hephaestus. The smith god fashioned Pandora's body at Zeus's command. What does the name Pandora mean? A. All gifted. B. Bringer of sorrow. C. Flame bearer. Answer: A. All gifted. Each god bestowed upon her a special gift. What container did Zeus give to Pandora? A. A jar. B. A chest. C. A box. Answer: A. A jar. In the oldest myths, it was a jar, later retold as a box. What did Pandora do that changed the fate of mortals? A. She opened the jar. B. She stole fire. C. She fled from Zeus. Answer: A. She opened the jar. Her curiosity released suffering into the world. What escaped from Pandora's jar? A. Evils and sorrows. B. Treasures and gold. C. Stars and light. Answer: A. Evils and sorrows. Pain, disease, and toil spread across the earth. What remained inside Pandora's jar after she closed it? A. Hope. B. Fear. C. Hatred. Answer: A. Hope. Hope alone stayed behind to comfort humankind. Which goddess gave Pandora beauty? A. Aphrodite. B. Hera. C. Artemis. Answer: A. Aphrodite. She made Pandora irresistibly lovely. Which god gave Pandora cunning words and deceit? A. Hermes. B. Apollo. C. Ares. Answer: A. Hermes. The messenger god taught her persuasive speech. Pandora was given as a bride to whom? A. Epimetheus. B. Prometheus. C. Atlas. Answer A. Epimetheus. Though warned by Prometheus, Epimetheus accepted her. What moral did the Greeks often draw from Pandora's story? A. Curiosity can bring suffering. B. Never steal from their gods. C. Pride leads to downfall. Answer A. Curiosity can bring suffering. Her tale explained why sorrow exists among humankind. Which Roman name was given to Prometheus's brother Epimetheus? A. Epimetheus remained the same. B. Vulcan. C. Saturn. Answer A. Epimetheus remained the same. Unlike some gods, his name did not change in Roman tradition. Prometheus's punishment showed what theme common in Greek myth? A. The gods punished those who defied them. But love always triumphs. C. Heroes always succeed. Answer A. The gods punished those who defied them. Rebellion against Zeus rarely went unpunished. Who taught humans many useful arts and skills alongside the gift of fire? A. Prometheus. B. Hermes. C. Apollo. Answer A. Prometheus. In some traditions, Prometheus not only gave fire, but also instructed mortals in craft and knowledge. The first heroes and legends. Not all myths were about the gods alone. In time, the world of mortals began to shine with stories of its own. Heroes were born, men and women who stood between the divine and the human, who carried both mortal frailty and the favor or wrath of the gods. Their deeds echoed across Greece, and their legends lived forever. Among the first was Cadmus, a wanderer and founder. Guided by prophecy, he sought his lost sister Europa, and instead gave the Greeks the gift of writing. He was said to have slain a dragon sacred to Ares, and from its teeth, sown into the earth, sprang a host of armed warriors. These warriors fought one another until only a handful remained, and with Cadmus, they built the city of Thebes. From blood and struggle rose a new kingdom, born of both courage and strife. Then came Perseus, son of Zeus and the mortal Danae. Cast into the sea as an infant, Perseus was destined for greatness. With the help of Hermes and Athena, he braved the lair of Medusa, one of the three Gorgons, whose gaze could turn flesh to stone. Armed with a mirrored shield, a winged helm, and a curved sword, Perseus struck swiftly and cut off her head. From her blood sprang Pegasus, the winged horse, and the giant Chrysaor, With Medusa's head, Perseus later saved the princess Andromeda from a sea monster, proving himself both cunning and brave. Another tale tells of Daedalus and Icarus. Daedalus, the master craftsman, built a great labyrinth for King Minos of Crete, a twisting maze to hold the monstrous Minotaur. Yet when he fell out of favor, Daedalus and his son Icarus were imprisoned within the labyrinth themselves. With patience, Daedalus fashioned wings of feathers bound with wax. "Fly, neither too high nor too low," he warned his son. But Icarus, overcome with joy, soared upward toward the blazing sun. The wax melted, his wings fell apart, and he tumbled into the sea, where the waves closed over him. His story was remembered as a warning of pride and recklessness. There was also the voyage of Jason and the Argonauts. Jason gathered a band of heroes, among them Heracles, Orpheus, and Castor, and Pollux. Together they sailed aboard the ship Argo in search of the Golden Fleece, a treasure guarded by a sleepless dragon in a distant land. With the aid of Medea, a sorceress who loved him, Jason overcame impossible trials. They yoked fire-breathing bulls, sowed dragon's teeth that sprouted into armed men, and lulled the dragon to sleep. The Argonauts returned triumphant, their tale one of courage, danger, and betrayal. And always there was Heracles, the greatest of them all, born of Zeus and a mortal woman. Gifted with strength beyond any man, yet tormented by the goddess Hera, Heracles was forced to endure 12 labors as penance. He slew the Nemean lion whose hide could not be pierced, battled the 9-headed Hydra whose heads regrew when cut, and captured the golden hind of Artemis, swift as the wind. He brought back Cerberus from the underworld, wrestled giants, and accomplished feats that no mortal could achieve. Though burdened by tragedy, his name became a symbol of might, endurance, and heroism. These early legends wove together gods and mortals, fate and choice. Heroes often carried divine blood, but they also bore human flaws. Their victories came at great cost, and their lives were shaped by both glory and sorrow. The Greeks remembered them not as perfect beings, but as figures who stood on the boundary between Earth and Olympus, who showed what it meant to struggle, to strive, and to endure. So the stories of Cadmus, Perseus, Daedalus, Jason, and Heracles echoed across the land. They laid the foundation for countless more tales to come, of Theseus, of Oedipus, of Achilles, and the Trojan War. And through them, the Greeks learned lessons of courage, of hubris, of loyalty, and of loss. From gods to titans, from fire to hope, and from heroes to legends, the world of Greek mythology unfolded, a tapestry of wonder and wisdom. And in every story, whether divine or mortal, there was always something of humanity itself, reflected in myth and memory. Which creature was defeated by Perseus using Medusa's head as a weapon? A sea monster sent to devour Andromeda. B. The Minotaur in Crete. C. The Caledonian Boar. Answer A. A sea monster sent to devour Andromeda. Perseus turned the monster to stone, saving Andromeda's life. Who founded the city of Thebes after slaying a dragon? A. Cadmus. B. Perseus. C. Theseus. Answer A. Cadmus. Cadmus sowed the dragon's teeth, and from them warriors sprang to help him build Thebes. What sprang from the blood of Medusa when Perseus cut off her head? A. Pegasus and Chrysaor. B. Hydra and Cerberus. C. The Harpies. Answer A. Pegasus and Chrysaor. The winged horse. Pegasus and the giant Chrysaor were born from Medusa's blood. What item did Perseus use to avoid looking directly at Medusa? A. A mirrored shield. B. A bronze helmet. C. A silver trident. Answer A. A mirrored shield. Athena gave him a polished shield to reflect Medusa's deadly gaze. Who was saved by Perseus from a sea monster? A. Andromeda. B. Ariadne. C. Europa. Answer A. Andromeda. Perseus rescued her after she was chained to a rock as a sacrifice. Who was the master craftsman who built the labyrinth of Crete? A. Daedalus. B. Icarus. C. Minos. Answer A. Daedalus. Daedalus was famed for his skill in invention and architecture. What happened to Icarus when he flew too close to the sun? A. His wings melted and he fell into the sea. B. He was turned into a bird. C. He was carried to Olympus. Answer A. His wings melted and he fell into the sea. The wax of his wings softened and he plunged into the waters below. What treasure did Jason and the Argonauts seek? A. The golden fleece. B. The apples of the Hesperides. C. The cattle of the sun. Answer A. The golden fleece. It was guarded by a sleepless dragon in a distant land. Which sorceress aided Jason in his quest? A. Medea. B. Circe. C. Hecate. Answer A. Medea. Medea fell in love with Jason and used her magic to help him succeed. What ship carried Jason and his companions? A. The Argo. B. The Nautilus. C. The Delos. Answer A. The Argo. Its crew were known as the Argonauts, meaning sailors of the Argo. Which hero among the Argonauts was famed for his great strength? A. Heracles. B. Orpheus. C. Castor. Answer A. Heracles. Heracles briefly joined the Argonauts before leaving for his own labors. What musical hero sailed with the Argonauts? A. Orpheus. B. Apollo. C. Hermes. Answer A. Orpheus. Orpheus's music calmed storms and even charmed the rocks and trees. How many labors did Heracles perform? A. 12. Barren 10. C. 8. Answer A. 12. These 12 labors became his path to redemption and immortality. What was Heracles' first labor? A. Slay the Nemean lion. B. Capture Cerberus. C. Clean the Augean stables. Answer A. Slay the Nemean lion. The lion's hide could not be pierced, so Heracles strangled it with his strength. Which labor required Heracles to defeat a many-headed serpent? A. The Hydra of Lerna. B. The Chimera. Chapter the Gorgons. Answer A. The Hydra of Lerna. When one head was cut off, 2 more would grow in its place. Which labor required Heracles to capture a golden-horned hind? A. The Ceryneian hind. B. The Caledonian boar. C. The Stymphalian birds. Answer A. The Ceryneian hind. This sacred deer belonged to the goddess Artemis. What was the final labor of Heracles? A. Capture Cerberus. B. Seize the girdle of Hippolyta. C. Take the apples of the Hesperides. Answer A. Capture Cerberus. Heracles brought the 3-headed hound from the underworld to the surface world. What creature did Daedalus build the labyrinth to contain? A. The Minotaur. B. The Chimera. C. The Harpies. Answer: A. The Minotaur. The Minotaur, half man and half bull, was kept in the twisting maze beneath Crete. What lesson is often drawn from the story of Icarus? A. Do not fly too close to the sun. B. Trust the gods. C. Treasure gold. Answer: A. Do not fly too close to the sun. His fall became a symbol of reckless pride and disobedience. Which Roman hero was sometimes compared to Heracles? A. Hercules. Mars. C. Aeneas. Answer: A. Hercules. The Romans adopted Heracles under the name Hercules, honoring his strength and labors.